If you're in the middle of writing your sweet romance and you're asking yourself, why does this story suddenly feel boring? Or why do I feel stuck? Or why did writing feel so much easier at the beginning of my story? Don't worry, you are not failing. This feeling is actually quite normal for most writers. What you are is in the messy middle of your story. And the middle feels hard for almost everyone, but especially for beginning writers. In today's video, we'll talk about different ideas to help you to get through to the other side of the messy middle as you write your sweet romance. Hello, I'm Lorna Faith. I write in many different genres of fiction under that author name, but I also write sweet romance books with my pen name, Melody Archer. I enjoy helping beginner writers who want to write sweet romance stories that connect deeply with readers. So let's talk about ideas to help you write the messy middle of your sweet romance. Step 1. The emotional energy shift. At the beginning of writing your sweet romance, everything is fun and new. You have new characters. You have a new setting. You have new chemistry between the hero and the heroine. And you feel inspired because discovery really fuels creativity. Toward the end of your novel, you're moving toward the payoff, the confession, the kiss between the hero and the heroine, and the happily ever after. But the middle feels more like construction. You are building, and sometimes building takes patience and brainstorming ideas. And that shift alone can make it feel like it's more difficult, but it isn't more difficult. We just need to help inspire some of those ideas. So step number 2, the real reason that the middle of your story stalls. Here's what usually happens. You write the meet cute. You write the spark. You write some banter between the hero and the heroine. And then you accidentally start repeating emotional beats. More banter, more almost moments, more they like each other. But it feels like nothing really changes in your story. Romance moves forward when the emotions shift between your hero and your heroine. If your middle feels flat, ask yourself, has anything changed inside of them? If the answer is no, then that's where we need to start. So step number 3, the 3 fixes for a sagging middle. Tip number 1, escalate the fear. Go back to your heroine's core wound. I encourage you, if you haven't yet, to write your heroine and your hero's backstory and write it by hand in a notebook. It will give you a really good idea of their childhood wounds, because often in a sweet romance, those things that they fear, those wounds and those misbeliefs that they have, they often stem from somewhere. They're rooted somewhere in the hero and the heroine's childhood or somewhere in their past. And, they are believing lies, essentially. This is a very important part of your story, because whatever this fear is, whatever this wound is, this is the transformation that will need to happen by the end of the story in your main characters. So what is she afraid of? What is he afraid of? Is she afraid of abandonment? Is she afraid of failure? Is she afraid of being unworthy? Is she afraid of losing her independence? And now ask yourself, have I written a scene that presses against that fear? It doesn't have to be dramatic, but it just needs to be enough that will unsettle your heroine or your hero. The middle is where the misbelief resurfaces. So maybe, for example, your hero cancels plans and your heroine assumes rejection. Maybe your hero keeps a secret and your heroine assumes betrayal. Or perhaps your hero succeeds publicly and your heroine feels left behind. Escalation doesn't require chaos in your story. It just means that there needs to be emotional pressure. something that is stacked against your hero and your heroine, because that's when things will begin to shift. Their emotions, they'll feel more pressure, and you'll start to feel more conflict between the hero and the heroine. You do want conflict, because conflict really is what keeps readers turning the pages in your story. So tip number 2, raise the stakes. Ask yourself, why does this relationship matter? If the heroine loses the hero, what does she really lose? For instance, ask yourself, does she lose a second chance at belonging? Does she lose reconciliation with family? Does she lose the courage to stay in town? Does she lose her belief that she is lovable? Clarify for the readers, and clarify, first for yourself by writing in a notebook and just brainstorming. Clarify what's emotionally at risk for your heroine and for your hero. Readers lean in when love really costs something to either the heroine or the hero, because your readers really do want to root and cheer for your main characters. Tip number 3, force a choice. The messy middle of your story needs decisions, and small decisions do count. For instance, does she agree to the fundraiser? Does she defend him publicly? Does she admit something vulnerable about herself? Does she step forward instead of retreating? Choice creates momentum. Your main character's choices create momentum. If they don't have choices, then there's no movement. So if you're stuck, write a scene that forces your heroine to decide something, even if it's something really small. Brainstorm on those ideas. I encourage you to handwrite it in a notebook, because I find for myself, it really sparks the ideas when I have handwritten notes. There's something about pen to paper that really sparks the creativity, the creative ideas. And let's move on to step 4. The truth about why the messy middle in your story feels difficult. The middle feels hard because you're no longer writing fantasy. You're writing transformation. And transformation requires discomfort between the hero and the heroine. Your characters must confront the belief that protects them. That's uncomfortable to write, and often it mirrors our own fears as writers. We feel that heaviness, we feel those difficult decisions. And often as writers, we feel the characters' fears even deep within ourselves. And this is why it becomes difficult to write. But here's how you can rethink it. If the middle feels complex, layered, and emotionally tense, that means you're doing real story work, and you're getting down to the deeper meaning of the story, and you're diving into the deeper theme of the story. When readers read our books, that's really what they're longing to read about. They're wanting that deeper connection because they're wanting to relate. They're wanting to relate to your heroine and your hero. They want to, almost like an actor and an actor stepping on the stage, they want to feel what that main character is feeling. So I encourage you not to rush this part of the story. Instead, really dive deep and find the deeper meaning in the middle part of your story. Ask yourself, what must change inside the hero and the heroine before the ending of the story feels earned? And that question really will carry you through. Often for myself, I brainstorm the first few chapters of the story, and I'll even write down a discovery draft of how I feel like the story, where it's heading. But by the time I'm finished writing chapter 2, or for sure by the time I'm finished writing chapter 3, that's when I have a real clear picture on what the main characters, both of them, of what they are afraid of. And it's like a homing beacon for me, because that lets me know what they need, the fears that they need to face in the climax of the story. And so I don't know if that's helpful to you, but that's just something that I do. So ask yourself these kinds of questions. What must change inside of the hero, and what must change inside of the heroine before the ending feels like it's earned, and where there is going to be a transformation that takes place in both main characters. If you are in the messy middle right now in your story, I want to encourage you, don't quit, and don't scrap your manuscript. Don't assume that you're not cut out for writing this sweet romance. The middle is really difficult, I think, for almost all writers. It's difficult for me. It's where I have to really dig deep into what their core wounds are, what their misbeliefs are, what lies are they telling themselves. That's where you're going to really kind of get into the mud. The middle is where you're really going to get into the deep wounds of both characters. But don't stop there. This is the part that often readers live for. They love reading about the deep wounds and the fears, and and readers are thinking, how are they going to get out of this? Are they going to be able to change? I mean, this seems too hard. And so this is our job as writers. We come up with creative ideas and ways to help our characters transform. And so really the middle is where us as writers become storytellers. And it's where the attraction between the hero and the heroine becomes love. And it's really where your story finds its depth. So you're not stuck, you are building. And building takes courage. And so be courageous today and keep writing through the messy middle of your sweet romance. So I hope you found this helpful today. And if you need help to find the depth of your story and to uncover the wounds and the misbeliefs of your main characters, then click the link below and grab your free Sweet Romance Story Starter Pack PDF. Some of the details and the questions in those worksheets I really think will help you to brainstorm and to help you build the middle of your sweet romance. So remember, you're not stuck, you're building. And building takes strength and courage. Write courageously, write bravely, and keep writing. Don't quit as you write your sweet romance. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy writing.